Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to PSGL. We're here this evening for the final round of the F3 Championship. It is round number 11, and we are here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache for the final round of the season. The title has been decided, but we still should have a great race this evening. And joining me alongside for this evening's action, it is Brendan. How are you doing?
Yep. One last dance here for PSGL season here in F3. And, well, everything has been decided. I think last week, Spike kick, unfortunately, that Spike kick is a penalty. He's still as championship leading since the only person who possibly could have caught him, Andrew, asking him about the points and what he isn't in here. Yep, so it's all wrapped up there, but hopefully we should have a good race where people will be maybe free to just try go as fast as they can and maybe go for a move that they mightn't necessarily do if it was earlier in the season.
Yeah, hopefully it is a good race. We'll take a brief look at our championship standings then. As you can see, Keke is now technically the champion because, of course, the four drivers below him in the championship are not here, so he is the World Drivers' Champion. It is Keke, Tyne, Dara, Mubarak, Anryu, Benza, LRB, Baki, Damiano, and Zane. That is your top 10, and then downwards it is Ghost Kings, Ates, Fede, Tom, Marcus, Dark, Dirk, have Jacob and Justbrand your top 20. In terms of the circuit for this evening then, ladies and gentlemen, it is of course the 4.309 kilometre, 2.677 mile Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. That sees 15 corners and a lap record that still belongs to Juan Pablo Montoya. 36 gear changes, about an average air lap in a Formula 1 car. The run from pole, one of the shortest in Formula 1. It's 195 metres from that grid slot to the apex of the first corner. But we're going to get straight into racing action then here, ladies and gentlemen. Qualifying is underway. We have just waited because the first cars are coming out on circuit now, so we can see Simon heading to track as well as Sanchez. He'll be the first man to settle that. Looking fairly overcast here in Interlagos. I wonder is there rain on the way?
Yeah, I don't know. Interlagos, it's all in real life. It's always been. You're never that far away from the rain. Or it's probably a good idea for most of you drivers to get out now, get the lap in, and just pretty much cover yourself. Because you just don't know. Sometimes these things will go away from you. But for others, this might just be a case that everyone wants to go and do a lap early on and just sign off from this season. We'll see. So just keep an eye on that. Because I'm hopeful here. We will have something good, as although it's not so good for Jacob because he spun.
Yeah, Jacob spins there heading through turn number 3. That's the Curva del Sol. We're on board with Sanchez here heading through turn number 7. That is, or turn number 6 is Ferradura. He's actually made a mistake heading through there, so that's the end of a lap potentially for Sanchez. He'll still be the first man to set a valid lap on the board, but it's not going to be the most competitive in the world because Zane will be the first man to set a valid lap because he's managed to overtake him here on his first quali push run. Heading down through turn number 11 and in towards turn number 12, Vionsau. It's an uphill left-hander, the final braking zone here in Brazil. Of course, these corners all the way to the start-finish line of 13, 14 and 15, all absolutely flat in the majority of conditions. Here comes Zander, pulls along that left-hand side wall, and he will go on provisional pole position here in Interlagos. LRB, though, will steal that from him. It's a 107.623 for LRB. Sanchez, of course, not getting a proper time in as we saw. Jacob will also not get a proper time in as he did have a spin heading through the Curva del Sol. It'll be the McLaren of Jesus Simon. That'll be the next man to get a lap on the board. All but 2 cars out setting competitive times. Here comes Simon then across the start-finish line. He'll go third. Can't quite snatch a McLaren 1-2. There's a Red Bull in the background crossing a start-finish line. That's VOT Robin who goes to second position. It'll be the AlphaTauri of Dirk then next across the start-finish line. He's looking to beat LRB's time of an 0.7623. Across the line goes Dark. He'll go to the top. 0.7541 for him. It'll be the Alfa Romeo of Dirk, not to get those confused, who makes it a 1-2 here on the front row. That's Justbrand who goes to 6th, and then Lewis crosses the line, who goes to 11th, but it'll be Damiano then who sets the pace, and no, it will not. It'll be Parnell Racing's Marcus who goes to the top. 107.324 for the Alpine as we have the first 12 times on the board. Royal Harvey and Ghost King still not yet to set a lap on track, but Ghost King's coming out of the pit lane now. Marcus, you're a provisional pole sitter here in Interlagos.
Yeah, so most every time but two getting the runs in. And so Marcus, he's putting himself a little bit clear the rest of the moment, so it'd be a very nice end to the season for him if he was able to close out with a pole position and possibly a win. But that's it. Once again, Brazil, all's very, very close. Usually, it is one of them tracks where it ends up evening out with the course of that. Because anyone who's got straight line advantage will then struggle in sector two and vice versa. So usually you do get a very close grid where any one mistake can cost you. And also, to further my point, Dirk and Sancho is at the exact same time.
They do, they're the exact same lap, but Dirk getting the spot because he said it first. Sanchez did it on his second competitive run in the session, hence why he's not gone to the pole. Lewis, I think, has just improved to 10th as well, meaning Jacob, the only man who is very far off the pace. Ghost Kings is going to be the next man to set foot across the start-finish line, but he's only starting a qualifying lap. Let's ride on board with the Aston Martin for a brief moment, heading through turn number one. Oh, that's a bit of a wobble through there. He's had to catch the car. It wanted to go round fully on him, but he's caught it nicely through the centre S's, but still lost major time. This won't be a pole run. You've got to be absolutely faultless around this track for a pole run. It says he's purple in sector 1, but I wouldn't really believe that one because he definitely did have a little bit of a mistake, unless it could have been lag, actually. It could have been lag. So we will keep an eye and see what he is doing here in the middle sector. Marcus, of course, on pole with a 107.324. It's Ghost Kings in second. Heading through turn number 9 now and towards turn number 10 of the Bico de Pato. That's a right-hander up here, uphill. You've got to just short shift through the gears and you can see him in 4th gear, 5th gear. And that Aston Martin just doesn't look comfortable through this section of the track. Looked like it wanted to spin almost through the flat corners, and that's the last thing you really want here in Brazil. But on to the start-finish straight then. Through Yonsao, here comes Ghost Kings, heading through the long sweeping right-hander, and up and across the start-finish line. Is this pole for Ghost Kings? No, it is way off, and that is 10th. That's probably a result of that mistake, heading through the first corner.
It's very easy to invalidate here at Brazil. Usually happen like to turn 1 and 2. Very easy just to either put too much or go a little wide. But even then, Brazil, it is. You could even get the invalidations up the hills as you go up to where the fast right-hander with Ghost King is right now. You can see very easy to go wide there. So Brazil, not much room for error in terms of qualifying lap. You mightn't crash out, but you could definitely lose a lap.
As LRB improving in the first sector, he's put in a good time there. Was on provisional pole for a brief moment in this session, but he still needs to find a lot more time as he heads up through Ferradura if he wants to take pole here in Interlagos. 10 minutes to go in the session as he's heading into the middle sector.
Yeah, very interesting to see how this has to turn out here, especially as it's a middle part. You see, when Robin is starting a lap up ahead, you see Zane and invalid.
Oh, that's a lot better in the middle from LRB. He's found time. He will jump a good few spots here because if you look, the gap from 2nd to 6th is pretty much nothing. It's that pole gap from Marcus that is setting a high pace here in F3. There goes LB across the line. It'll be the front row of the grid from the McLaren. Next will be the Scuderia Ferrari of Zane across the start-finish run, but that is an invalid time for him. Dirk just getting set and ready to go on his run. Here comes Jacob in the Mercedes up and across the start-finish line. That's going to go to 5th. A decent run in the end there. Here comes Sanchez across the line. He's also just starting a lap. What about Jesus Simon? He comes across the start-finish line as well. Dare I say starting a lap? No, he's actually improved a couple of tenths of a second. Just no positional improvement. Damiano then up and across the start-finish line. He'll take 2nd position now, back off LRB. It'll be Lewis then next as there was a spin from Marcus on his outlap. As there goes Dark to 2nd. He's now closed that gap to Marcus, who made that mistake on his outlap. Looks like there's a crash. Alfa Romeo as well. That is Dirk, who is... Oh no, they're just letting cars through. That's a good sportsmanship in the middle sector.
Yeah, it's difficult enough, especially in that position, to try let people through. So he's done very well to get it done and not impact on anyone's lap. But there's Mercedes behind him of Jacob, and I think Jacob is on a lap here. Judging
Yeah, I believe
him.
he is. Yeah.
No,
he's not.
never mind. Never mind. I was looking at the ERS for a second, I thought it was, but then when I started seeing it move up instead of down, you then realise he's not really pushing here.
Yeah, he's wasn't on a lap there, was Jacob. There's a few people on times though, as Dirk is going to start another lap. Damiano is going to trundle into the pit lane, as is Dark when he comes around the start-finish straight. I believe the Haas Sanchez could be on a bit of a time here, as he's heading through the first sector. That's not the Haas I was looking for, it's the Haas Lewis. That is the man heading to the start-finish line, but no, invalid unfortunately once again. What about Robin then? No, invalid as well. A lot of mistakes here in Interlagos, as Ghost Kings will follow that trend, as Royal Harvey is just going to start a qualifying lap here. His teammate Marcus currently on pole position. Here comes Just Brand. He's going to set a lap across the start finish line. Goes Just Brand. It'll be 6th spot for him. Is Marcus improving on his time? No, he dives into the pit lane. That spin on his outlap will be nothing but a shot into his confidence. It won't help him at all.
Yes, so that's really Marcus not improving, so leaving there's like a pressure to get another lap in, because sometimes you might get knocked off your stride if you don't get that extra lap in. It says Dirk up to 4th, so not too bad for the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, good run. 2/10 improvement.
Yeah, no, he's just left Sanchez is the only one on the 107.612. And he's in the pit, so he's probably going to be waiting for that last run to improve. But then we've got Ghost Kings improved by half a second. Let's see what he can do. It's third.
Oh, it's third. Couldn't even find him on the timing screen. He jumped up right there. That's third for Ghost Kings. Decent run that in the end from him. Next across the start finish line will be Royal Harvey, but he's into the pit lane. He's having a horrid qualifying so far. Needs to try get about a lap in. What about Zane? No, invalid again. I'm sick of saying that word invalid. It seems everybody is doing it. LRB is going to be the next man to start a run here, heading through Yun Sao, and this main straight that he's heading on sees a 13% engine power decrease due to more downforce and wing needed for the less oxygen here. We're 800 metres above the sea level here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. LRB found almost exactly a 10th and a half on his last run. If he could find that again, or just a little bit more than that I should say, he will take pole position. Currently in 6th. That gap has come down to Marcus, because of course he did not get his second run in, so there's a lot to come from Marcus. That's a big improvement for LRB in the first sector. Of course, it's a very quick first sector here in Interlagos. It's just over the 20-second mark. So if you can find just under a 10th of a second, that is a big gain. Heading then through turn number 8 and in towards turn number 9. You just got to steady the car through here. This is not bad from LRB. Heading in towards the Bico de Pato of turn number 10. Just utilising the gears for that extra rotation. Flat right-hander then of Mergulio heading in towards Yun Sao. Big improvement in there as well for LRB. If you can nail the traction here in Yun Sao, you have a feeling this will go towards the top. But rounding through the final couple of corners and sweeping through turn number 14, turn number 15 then, another flat left. Hang tight to that left-hand wall. Here comes LRB across the start-finish line. It's the exact same lap time as Marcus. LRB takes provisional pole here in Interlagos. It's probably 0.001 ahead of Marcus, but it's just come up that way from a graphical perspective. But LRB on pole then with a 107.323. If we have a look at the lap times here, you can probably see there's a little bit of a difference. There is. It's 0.001 is the difference between LRB and Marcus. Very close margins here in Brazil.
Indeed. Don't even think you could lead them through that, although actually you quite literally can't with Damiano and Dirt, because they are the same time.
Yeah, that's it's a short circuit, so we get some stuff like this. Here comes Zainton heading through the final corner. Can he find some time? Sat in 11th. No. He pulls into the pit lane. That's mildly disappointing. What about Simon? No, he's backed off a lap as well. The only 2 cars on the circuit. Or, no, there's more heading out now, so that's ruined my point. I was going to say it is the 2 McLarens, but that's ruined my point because there's now a Haas and an Alfa Romeo on the circuit. That is the Haas of Lewis and the Alfa Romeo of Dirk. 2 Haas's, 2 McLarens, 2 Aston Martins, 2 Alpines, and 2 Mercedes. There's no duplicates here this evening of any other team, so it's fairly easy to recognise who's who, because Dirk, the only Alfa Romeo Sauber here this evening, as is Dirk, the only Alfa Tauri, the only Ferrari being Zane, and then everyone else. It starts to get a little bit more confusing, but 3 minutes and 14 to go here in qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yeah, last runs now, and any sort of improvement may make the difference here. You quite literally, for Dirk, all you have to do is improve by a millisecond. Oh,
Robin's been disqualified from qualifying for blocking the pit lane. And well, that's a peculiar one. He currently sits 7th here in qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix. 14th. He now goes to 14th. He'll start at the back. That's a real weird one. I don't think I've seen that one before. I've seen disqualifications for going backwards and stuff, but never for blocking the pit lane exit. Nevertheless, Dirk is going to be the man who gets underway next. Let's see what this first sector's like. Oh, that's a massive first sector, but he's been blocked. He's been blocked by the AI car. It was a huge first sector from Dirk. It was actually good enough for pole at that point, but he's been blocked from the disqualified car of Robin. And that'll be that lap from Dirk. Just has to regenerate the energy and just get his fuel mixtures down and get that car onto another lap. Very disappointing if you're Dirk. That was a big first sector.
Yeah, it was going so well, but then it's just, you can't even really do much because Robin's got disqualified. He can't control his car anymore. So you're not really going to penalise an AI, and a penalty like at this rate, not sure how that would actually work for the next season.
Robin has come into the stream comment saying, what the hell? I agree with him. I'm not really too sure what happened. We weren't looking at it, but there's a minute and 35 to go here in qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And it's getting a little bit tense, really close at the top 6 separated by just under a 1/10 of a second. Zane gets his qualifying underway once again, so does Lewis. Simon just building up for a qualifying lap. Royal Harvey underway. What about Marcus? Is he underway? No, he's just getting started, so it is all getting started in here. Zane heading through the first sector and in towards the right-hander Ferradura. Anybody could still take pole here, unless maybe Simon and Lewis, and no longer Zane. He's invalidated. That's disappointing. If you're the Scuderia Ferrari-man, is Lewis getting his lap underway? No, I think he could have been backed off on this one. It's certainly not blistering times. As you can see, the Alpine of Royal Harvey getting out of the way. Marcus improving in the first sector. Needs to find time. If he wants to take pole, just needs to find anything realistically. It'll be the McLaren of LRB who starts his lap now, but the first man to complete qualifying here, this is going to be Sanchez, who no, he's not going to complete qualifying because he's gone across the start-finish line. Simon has spun, heading through the Decido del Lago, or the Retro Posta, I should say. Here comes Lewis to the start-finish line. We saw Zane make a mistake on his lap. Lewis, has he made a mistake on his? He's gone for a second attempt. He obviously has made a mistake. Dirk into the pit lane. He won't finish qualifying. That is very disappointing for him because he was improving in the first sector and then got blocked. Here comes Ghost Kings. Is he just starting a lap as well? He is, but here comes Marcus. This is for pole position in Interlagos. Across the start-finish line goes the Alpine. He does take pole, but it's very close. 0.009. That could easily be beaten here in Interlagos. Will it be beaten by Jusbrand, who pulls on to the left-hand wall? Needs to find over 0.2 of a second. He won't. He'll only go 6th. Here comes Damiano across the start-finish line. Then he's improving by a 10. This could be enough from pole from 7. It absolutely is for Damiano. That's an excellent run to put him up to first position. No improvement from Dirk. What about LRB, who heads across the start-finish line? Needs to find time in an already monstrous lap. He won't. Will Jacob? He will not. How about Sancho? Is he finding time? He's thundering round the final couple of corners, heading through Yunsao at a blistering speed. Oh no, he's invalid on the run in. Would it have been pole? No, it wouldn't. He wouldn't have improved anyways. Zane, he's not improving here either, I don't think. Across the start-finish line, he's not going to get anything out of that one. And Lewis has spun it. But Damiano takes pole position from 7th. Excellent run from Damiano. He only needed a small amount of time. It was just over a 1/10 of a second he got that. And your pole time's 1:07.290, and it'll be the Mercedes that starts on pole here in Interlagos.
Yep, Damiano has done the job here. Got that run in the last possible moment, but Marcus won't be curious himself because that ball was there for the taking, but just didn't really find much improvement after that first run.
You gotta find improvements. Marcus wasn't able to find enough, and he does get beaten to pole by Damiano in the Mercedes 107.290, of course. Marcus then in second, followed by LRB in third. It's Dark, who starts from fourth. Jacob then in fifth position with Ghost Kings in sixth. It's then Justbrand and Dirk who line up seventh and eighth. Sanchez and Zane will line up on the fifth row, both Ferrari powered cars. One of course being the Italian in the Scuderia Ferrari. He starts 10th, and then the only two to get laps in other than that was Simon and Lewis. Royal Harvey not getting a time in the end, and Robin of course we saw get disqualified after a spin in the pit lane. Folks, don't go anywhere, we'll be back after a short commercial break. Welcome back to PSGL, ladies and gentlemen. We're here in Sao Paulo for the Brazilian Grand Prix. The first race on the old circuit in Sao Paulo is the third Grand Prix of Sao Paulo, won by Nascimento Jr. I'd love to run you through some fun facts, but they've already readied up. I'm already getting ready to go here. 15 seconds. Brendan, who wins this one?
It could be anyone's game here, but I'd say Marcus, if he's able to keep the pace on immediately like he had before, probably he's got a good chance first.
Well, here we go then. Lining up on the grid for the Brazilian Grand Prix. 2, 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we go racing here in Brazil. There is a four-way jump start as we lead in towards turn number 1. Obscene scenes here in Interlagos. It is Damiano, LOP, Jacob, and Justbrand who've all jumped the start. Justbrand looking for an overtake as the two VOT, or the VIR and the VOT boy I should say, going side by side. Ghost Kings and Dirk as well. Four-way jump start. You wouldn't see the likes of it. Here we go in towards the Retro Oposta for the first time. There's an Aston Martin wide in front. Damiano leads the British Grand Prix, but he will have to pull into the pit lane in the next 3 laps to serve his drive-through penalty. Marcus will take the race lead, and a comfortable one at that, as he did not jump the start. Hectic stuff here on the opening lap in Brazil. Zane looking to try and move around the outside of Dirk. This battle is really for a podium almost at this moment. I know they're down in 8th and 9th, but this is thrown a spanner in the works in this race. Here comes Simon trying it around the outside. The Frenchman trying to get past the fast starting French car of Royal Harvey. Round the outside heading through Yunsao goes Harvey, and there's a spinner in the background. That's Lewis who goes round heading through the left-hander of Mergulio, as Simon's going to lose out here on this occasion. The Alpine of Royal Harvey just a bit better through that section of the track. Top 3 in the pit lane all to serve their drive-through penalties. Justbrand follows suit. Here comes Simon looking to attack the Alpine. It's an Alpine leading the race. It's an Alpine here in 7th, but he's got Shizou Simon diving him down the inside, heading in towards the Senna S's for the second time. Good defence from Harvey. Oh, bit of a squiggle on the exit, and the McLaren trying it clean round the outside. Here comes Shizou Simon. That's an excellent move. He's teed that one up beautifully, and he's now up 4 positions to 7th. Really good stuff by these two on the opening laps.
Yeah. It's a peculiar start. 4 people jumping is not what you normally see. However, one thing is Brazil, they're going to have to make about 8 seconds, which may end up being difficult, but it's not completely impossible, especially as Damiano and LRB were very, very quick, and although Jacob and Justbrand were not as high up the order, so I honestly think this could be very
this is from Dark, by the way. He's piling on the pressure on Marcus. I've never seen a 4-way jump start in league racing before, but here we go. Look at Dark around the outside of Marcus here. He's not holding back. Marcus gonna just follow in. Not sure if this is just Dark over pushing or whether there's a genuine pace advantage on board that AlphaTauri, but he leads here in Brazil all of a sudden. He leads the Brazilian Grand Prix here in Sao Paulo. Sancho is just looking to pile the pressure on Zane in the background. Royal Harvey now looking to pick up another spot. There was a problem there was a problem for Harvey, because Jesus Simon's well in front now. Is Royal Harvey able to attack Robin? The man was disqualified in qualifying, but he's made up 4 positions, and he's not had to move out of his own line for it, so that'll be a little bit of an advantage. Damiano, LOB, Jacob and Juspran all got to work together here to claw back in this race, because there's a lot of work they have to do if they want to win this Grand Prix from this point onwards.
Yeah, they'll have to do a lot of work, especially in that position with the jump start. It's just not what you really want, and they're also going to have to now pass Lewis first of all, just to then get a bit of clean air, which would be important. Then the DRS factor is going to come in here, as you see. The top 9 are all within the second of each other, and that's so important.
Here we go, the Marcus looking to attack Dark. I will get them right, it's very confusing, as Marcus does set his personal best of the race. It's not the fastest lap, which Dark said on the previous lap. That was lap number 3. At a 36 here, these laps will tick past fairly quickly, don't you worry about that. That's Damiano getting down past Lewis and setting the fastest lap as well. Damiano up into the points now once again. It's points don't really equal prizes necessarily here in Brazil. The points don't actually really matter at this point in the season, unless you're fighting for your own individual battles or looking for your own individual goals. But in terms of an overall perspective, they don't really matter, as Shilukeke isn't even here himself. He didn't fancy it. He's wrapped up the title and dipped here in PSGL F3.
Yeah, we don't really not seeing our top 2. There's actually
that's Jesus Simon. That Simon has gone round. He's heading through turn number 9, I believe. That is, of course, Pinheirinho, as he's gone round in. That pronunciation is probably absolutely butchered, but I can't imagine there's any Spanish native speakers watching. If there is, feel free to insult me in the stream comments. Here comes Marcus going to the race lead once again past Dark. It seems like this is going to be a high-speed game of chess between these two, as Marcus now takes the lead once again from a comfortable spot. And there's no real fighting for it unless Dark can try the up and under, and he gets in the toe of the Alpine. He's kept it nice and close to the centre S. It's a difficult corner to do so in because of that dirty air that'll be chucked up over your front wing. No move though in towards the Decido, or the Retro Posta I should say, at the end of the Decido de Lago. It is Marcus who leads once again here in Interlagos. These guys have Ghost Kings hot on their heels. They got to watch for him.
Yeah. King is very much there, ready to pounce.
Oh, Harvey gone round, and he's that is a stunning piece of car control. That is if I had one of those placards, that's a 10 out of 10 for you, Harvey, my friend. You would win a gold medal in the Olympics for that. Simon wouldn't, as he's put it in the wall. That is a nil point for you, Simon, the Frenchman, and he spun it again, unfortunately.
Well, if Dad managed to get back to right way around, we might have given a 7 for 360, but I suppose it's not. Oh, and not. Well,
that's even worse. That's definitely no points for you, Simon, and the safety car's come out.
So that might be minus at this rate.
Yeah, that's actually a disqualification. For you, Simon, from the PSGL F3 Figure Skating World Championship. Jacob dives into the pit lane, very smart there, because he can now get a fresh set of boots on. But the race leader has overtaken the safety car, so they'll all be running on Delta pace and not behind Bernd Maylander. So we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out.
Yeah, this is going to be a long race for these guys, especially with the safety car. Although for Jacob, I have to say, mediums now, is this going to be an actual plan, or is he going to actually go back into the pits and then switch back onto tyres so he has the pit stop complete?
I'd say that's what he could do. Unless he's doing mediums to the end, which would, in theory, it would work. Would it work on paper? Not really sure, but we'll find out anyway, sooner rather than later. Marcus carries on. I think all these guys are going to carry on. Nope, spoke too soon. Dirk is into the pit lane for a different strategy. As let's see, what does Jacob do? Right, he's still has to come through Yun Sao. Now's a bit of a time though where I can do some pointless fun facts. The circuit here was designed by Luis Romero Sanson, who was designed it, and it was opened on the 12th of May 1940. That is my party fun fact, just in general. But some of the more interesting facts is that 5 Brazilian drivers have won here in the past: Emerson Fittipaldi, Jose Carlos Pache, Nelson Piquet, Ayrton Senna, and of course Felipe Massa. Who could forget that 2008 Grand Prix? That was an interesting one, which is still being decided to this day, seemingly. Big up Felipe. Felipe, baby, stay cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the plans here. So some people go for the mediums, thinking, okay, extend long, maybe actually go for a pure pace strategy. And others going to stay on the hards. So see, both have their merits. One is just keep going and then go to mediums to the end. Other is try be as quick as possible and make that stop for the double medium. The idea is, obviously, after this season, nobody's got really anything to lose here, so it does allow for a bit of more out-of-the-box kind of strategies.
I think another tactic here could be the fact that they're expecting another safety car.
That will probably be another idea. However, I'd imagine they nearly want a little bit of a free run for some time, because you'll need to make use of these mediums while people are still on hard, although two of them have already switched back to the hard, so clearly they've got a plan.
El Plan coming through, potentially. If your name is Royal Harvey, well, he'll be hoping so, that's for sure. But him and Jacob have both gone for the hard compound tyres. They are going to go, or attempt to go to the end on them, or at least go a bit further into the race. But yeah, they'll start 12th and 13th. When you only have 13 drivers, you can kind of do a bit bold strategies like this, because look, at the end of the day, there's not as many people to overtake. It's not as risky as if we had a 20 car field here.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, can Dirk and Lewis make this work? Honestly, we'll be going in the end of that.
Oh, we will. Oh, thank the Lord. I was going to say another safety car lap might make us all fall asleep here in Interlagos, but we are going to go racing and have a couple of roaring Grand Prix cars on your screen once again, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Reese Fisher, who's watching. He's supporting the Australian representees here. I believe that's Marcus and Jacob. Hello to Reese, who's watching along in the stream chat as we go racing here in Interlagos. Marcus has got us going much earlier than some would expect, and he's got an absolute beauty of a restart. Here comes Zane then, heading in towards the first corner. Is he able to attack Ghost Kings up the inside? No, he's not. He's going to have to try hook it around the outside, potentially, of the Aston Martin. Oh, wide for Dark. Dark has gone really wide for the centre S's, and Zane is just trying it round the outside, heading through and heading onto the Decido del Lago. Dark using his battery to just stay in front there. It looks like Sancho is trying it up the inside of Zane here.
No.
Oh no, that was never going to work into the Retro Posta, and Sanchez goes around. He has to reverse off the racing surface just to make sure nobody collides him, or collides into him, I should say. And that is Sanchez off and round, unfortunately for him. What a restart for our medium runners. They're up to 8th and 9th respectively. And look at LRB and Robin. He's trying it round the outside, trying to rob the spot off him. You can give a badumtition there, Brendan, as LRB diving up the inside in towards the Bico de Pato. Here comes Dirk. He's trying to just sneak his way through, and that's an excellent move from Dirk. He's just snuck past the red ball. Horror lap for Haas. It is not a lap to remember. It is a disaster class, and Lewis and Sanchez now 12th and 13th. Awful lap for them. Lewis got a good restart on the mediums as well, so that is just horrible for him. He went round under his own accord as well. There was no contact made or anything. He just went round by himself, so his own fault, which is unfortunate for him to be making a mistake like that. Dirk still trying to pile the pressure on LRB. He's making the most of these mediums here in the restart and trying to get the spot on the experienced McLaren in front.
Well, it's been a book, but yep. Last search of the season, but I'm still coming. Well, that's say it has been very much a disaster class, because Sancho is Bono trying to get the overtake done. And Lewis, well, he had the mediums, but then he's managed to spin, and now it's going to be him trying to get back to where he was, rather than maybe in this position of dark where you're trying to get as many places as you can.
Yeah, and it's still fairly nip and tuck at the top, as more Marcus fans in the comments celebrating Marcus in P1, and he's absolutely doing a good job, but DRS is going to really assist whoever is attacking the Aussie at the top, because Ghost Kings is just getting a lot of straight line speed because of it. He's just tucking into the slipstream and trying his best to overtake the Alpine in front. He's got a lot of battery on board, but Marcus actually has a little bit more. Lewis, not flustered by the spin. He set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It's a 1:10.417, and if PSGL was involved in official F1 lap records, that would be the lap record by quite a comfortable margin. Dirk looking to get past LRB. He's got past them. We haven't caught the overtake, but as they head up towards the Ferradura of turn number 6, Dirk is the man in P number 6, and he is up and through past the McLaren, but very different strategies on these two cars. Dirk on the better tyre by far.
Yeah, Dirk's got the best tyres in the moment, really. Lewis on the same age tyres, but they've had a spin on them as well, so I doubt he'll be in the best position. However, he's making up time here, so if he can catch back on to the back of a train, he won't be too bad a position. You see Dirk here, he's looking, probably see if he can just make a little move. He can have the tyres, he needs to take advantage of them while they're still here. Not quite there yet. And it seems like we're going to be settling in for a little DRS train. And Lewis is settling for a fastest lap or two.
Yeah, Lewis is trying to get back into this race. He's only 2.7 adrift of the field. There's a bit of a schism in the middle of the field. LOB and Robin now separated by over a second. That means Robin will not have the DRS, and that will sort of disconnect himself and everybody else behind. The last thing our penalty people would have wanted, but to be fair, most of them have amalgamated themselves within the top 10. LOB up to 7th, as you can see. Damiano in 5th now. But Dirk just looking to pile the pressure on the pole man. Damiano taking pole, and in towards the Pico de Pato goes the Alfa Romeo. That gap is closing and closing, but the opportunity grows greater and greater as Dirk pulls alongside. Wasn't able to pull it off here as they head through the Mergulio and in towards Yonsao. The Alfa Romeo will have the run through this final, or technically not the final corner, but it may as well be. It's the one you get the exit from. Here comes the Alfa Romeo then roaring behind the Mercedes, who opens his rear wing, but will it be the saviour here? Alongside goes Dirk, who breaks the later of the two. It's last of the late breakers for the Alfa Romeo, who has to try slingshot it around the outside into the centre S's and then just get the traction in towards the third part of the corner. He's got it. That's a great move from Dirk. He's teed that one perfectly. Royal Harvey has spun at the back of the field. It's been a shocking race weekend for him so far, unfortunately, and he's gone round through the centre S's. Dirk up to 5th spot. Excellent racing between the pair.
Yeah, it's a great racing. Unfortunately for Harvey here, he spun it. Now he's now last. It's no longer being propped up by the Haas. And Lewis, he's actually 2.5, so he's 2.4 actually. He's closing in again, but you'll be hoping that maybe he can just do the raid he was doing a lap or two ago. And because if he can do that, then he'll be very much back towards the top 10. I'd say Marcus, he's doing a solid job here. He had lost to the earlier this race, but that's a back. And well, Dark, he's now down to 3rd. Ghost Kings, look, yeah, it's a bit close. He could try something like that. Marcus, you see how much DRS he has?
Whoa, he does have a lot if you look at the steering wheel of the Alpine. He's running a very comfortable drive here so far, as we still have loads of laps to go here in Interlagos. That safety car, of course, delayed us a little bit, but we still have plenty of racing. It is one of the longer races, despite the laps being shorter, but they do tick down fairly quickly, as this gap has been fluctuating between the 6th, 10th and 4/10 of a second mark. Ghost King is sometimes getting even closer, specifically in towards the centre S's, which is turn number 1 and 2. If you are unfamiliar, but Marcus looking to win for Alpine for the first ever time here in Brazil. The most successful team in Brazil is McLaren, as unfortunately we almost have an Alpine joining a McLaren in the DNF, I should say, runners, because that was Royal Harvey with another spin, unfortunately, heading through turn number 8. Simon, of course, was the man who brought out the safety car. He was the first man to DNF here in this Grand Prix, as this is getting closer between the top 2, as it's getting real closer between 4 and 5, as Dirk dives down the inside. The Mr. Overtaker in this race, by the looks of things, gets another spot, and the man on the mediums is the man producing the moments in this Grand Prix. Dirk up to 4th. Is how far is he able to get in this one? Is he able to lead at some point? That's what I want to see.
Yes, how far can Dirk get up his order already? He has gotten up a good bit. But you have to wonder now, will he be able to break that top 3 who have been very solid all race? And well, how long will it be before the mediums and hards switch in terms of performance? And then Dirk might find himself being the one attacked rather than him doing the attacking.
I think Dirk played a blinder in terms of strategy here, because he's going to be pinning about the same lap as the hard tire runners will. Meaning he's brought himself right into contention in this one. Here comes Ghost Kings. There's a real chance for the Aston Martin, who's looking to follow in the footsteps of Mubarak and winning an Aston Martin this season. There goes Ghost Kings, who takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. What card does Marcus play here to get back at the Aston Martin? Heading through turn number 3 and 4. He's using the battery, and Marcus is going to look up the inside into the Retro Oposta, or the outside, should I say, trying to just force Ghost Kings to brake too late. They both run wide. The Alpine a little bit further, and now he's under pressure from Dark in the background. Dirk 3 and 4 looking to knock on the door here as Marcus heading through. The right-hander is able to hold the spot for now in towards this tricky downhill left-hander. The Alpine holds firm in second, but Ghost Kings leads here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. Royal Harvey has spun again and now running the risk of going a lap down.
Oh dear. How very fast things can fall. Let's see, Marcus, surely he'll start burning.
Oh, runs really wide. That's very peculiar. He's obviously had an issue or something, or maybe had to catch the car. But here comes the overtaker once again. This is Dirk now attacking, as this could be a double whammy for him if he plays his cards right. No, just too far back for even the one. They break it towards turn number 1. Look how close Dirk got to Marcus. I thought there was almost certain
Lewis
to be contact there. Lewis has a problem. He's picked up a 3-second time penalty, as here we go, down the Retro Oposta. Is anyone close enough for a move? You can see all 4 cars in your camera shot, and just look at how late they brake for this corner, rotating into the left-hander. It's one of the quicker corners on the circuit, would you believe that one? The Retro Oposta, turn number 4, and then turn number 5, obviously, being flat Ferradura, which is the uphill right-hander here, and then it is in towards the down, I believe, and look, just holding it around the outside. Oh, brilliant from Dirk. That's an excellent move, and he gets the job done. And now he has got to potentially attack Marcus, as Royal Harvey does finally give up the ghost and does retire from this Grand Prix, unfortunately.
You see, Marcus, he's not really burning that much. He has the bit to use, but he might just be thinking of a couple of laps, and maybe he does go for make a pit stop. So he might content to be there for now. And honestly, with Dirk and Dark fighting it out here, that could be the opportunity he needs to break away from them two, and then be able to focus on Ghost Kings.
Well, Ghost Kings and Marcus are gunning for this one, because Dirk is now 9/10 adrift and needs to push in this sector of the track. This is one of Marcus's best laps so far, as I imagine pit stops will be coming up soon. We're almost in the halfway point in this Grand Prix. As we head through this corner now, we are through the halfway point in this Grand Prix. This is the middle of the circuit, there or thereabouts, I suppose, and that now marks the halfway point in the Brazilian Grand Prix, the final race on F123 for this PSGL F3 Championship. It could be the final race on F123 for PSGL in total here in the F3 Championship. It just depends on how long it lasts as Ghost Kings is in. Ghost Kings pulls the trigger and dives into the pit lane, as does Dirk and Zane. So it's now Marcus who leads. It's Marcus and Dirk who are your sole runners. They're trying the overcut. Looked like they had a pace advantage. They're trying the overcut here in PSGL. Ghost Kings goes for a set of the mediums, as does Dirk and as does Zane, and everybody will be on the mediums towards the end of the race because the hard tyres will go on the mediums, and of course Dirk did already run the hard tyres but went for the mediums under the safety car. That strategy has worked a treat so far.
Yeah, it's working really well there, the mediums. Even Lewis managed to bring himself back into this race because of the mediums. Albeit he will have that penalty, which is going to be a pretty much... it's like ballast on the wrong part of the car. They're just going to be held back here.
So here we go then, rounding through Yun Sao. Will we see these guys pull into the pit lane? And also, just to confirm, we won't be the last race running because F1 unfortunately has had a wet race, so obviously we'll get done much quicker. Marcus into the pits. Oh, 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. That is an error. That's a huge error from Marcus, and the same from Brand. That could cost these here. As Ghost King's heading through Yun Sao now. He is being hunted down by Damiano. The closest Damiano's got all race. Ghost King's running qualifying lines here. As where will Marcus come out in the pit lane? Here he goes. Obviously, it's a bit of a shorter run here. It's practically identical, but you can see the Alpine just heading through. This is going to be mighty close between the two. There's the Aston Martin just coming into picture. You'll see him flying around the outside here as here comes Ghost Kings trying to tuck into the slipstream of Marcus. Marcus has got to get these Pirelli mediums up to temperature here. Ghost Kings came into the pit lane in first position. Is he going to come out of the pit phase in second? But Marcus quite crucially made that mistake for speeding in the pit lane, picked up a 5 seconds, heading through the right-hander of Ferradura. Is Ghost Kings close enough for a dive down the inside? He isn't. Plays it cool, plays it safe, sits behind. Marcus still hasn't got the temperature into his tyres. Maybe a dive into the big of the Pato is on, but Ghost Kings has to be careful because he's got a Mercedes on level pegging behind him now. This top three, oh so close. Obviously the 5th, 6th and 7th for the time being as Dirk now dives into the pit lane. This is what I'm interested in seeing. How can Dirk affect this race? Because these three have been squabbling just a tad, not by a lot, but just a tad. They've been squabbling here in this battle. How will it play out? Ghost Kings tucked into the slipstream of Marcus. He's going to go for the move in towards turn number 1. Marcus just runs a wide line, it seems, and does actually slip behind the Aston Martin. Not sure if that's intentional or not. There is Dirk in the pit lane. He's going to come out behind all these, or is he going to be alongside? There goes Damiano. Oh, is he going to come out ahead of Dark? Actually, quite crucially here, he does, but he has to get these mediums up to temperature. Dark going to try it around the outside into the Retro Aposta. Alfa Romeo versus Alpha Tauri, and Dirk is going to come out on top in this battle. So they all run line astern for now. It is a top 10 of Jacob Lewis, Ghost Kings, Marcus, Damiano, Dirk, Dark, LRB, Zane and Just Brand. But obviously no pit stop for Jacob and Lewis yet. Or well, Lewis has pit, but he's going to have to pit again. Jacob obviously not pitting yet in this Grand Prix. Interesting proceedings here in the PSGL F3 Championship.
Yeah, it is very interesting to see what's going on here. See, Marcus now is the problem of, well, he's got to try to do something there. He's got that 5 seconds, so how much can you really do? Especially since like Damiano are now back in the picture despite that original jump start penalty. And well, Dark, he's in with the freshest tires. Or Dirk, sorry.
So, yeah, it's they're all on pretty much a level pegging field, so Marcus isn't going to be able to pull too much as there's a yellow flag. It's Lewis round. Oh, it's a safety car.
Oh,
the full course safety car.
Oh, Jacob, he's got a gift.
Jacob
and Lewis
is counting his blessings. Lewis is the man who caused it because he's no front wing. Might not work out too bad for him, although the only thing here is he's still going to be way down the back because everybody's in a queue. Everybody's in the one train. They're all within seconds of each other.
Yeah, that's true.
It's way more beneficial for Jacob here because he's a good few seconds in front. He's about 12 in front. 12, 13-ish. Depends when he comes into pit lane. Where Jacob is only 7, so he's still going to fall behind that train.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting now. Where will Jacob filed out into, and he's not had any trouble with the pit lane entry, so
He's all fine.
yeah.
Let's see then. Into the pits. Set of mediums as per ritual. Here's Ghost Kings heading through the final corner. He's going to be pushing his Delta. And there's a few people actually coming in for fresh tyres. That is, that's Lewis. Marcus. Marcus is actually pit to serve that penalty, so he still has a chance of winning this one. That's actually pretty smart, you know. Jacob
Yeah,
going to take
not
7th.
terrible.
So it's worked out a lot better than it would have if that safety car hadn't come out for Jacob.
Yeah, 7th, and you've got fresher tyres, so not too bad for Jacob. Surely we'll be happy with that. So Marcus up down to 9th. However, realistically, in that case, with a 5 seconds, he was going to drop down a lot. Anyways, he may as well take the hit now and try build up, and whatever he builds up, he gets.
Well, Marcus into the pit lane, service 5, so he's now down to 9th. It's Ghost Kings who leads here in PSGL F3. Had a Damiano, Dirk, Dark, LRB, Zane, Jacob, Lewis, Marcus, Jusbrans, Robin Sanchez. We have 2 retirees, that is Royal Harvey and Simon, who both didn't have the best of race weekends. That 23 out of 36. This will be an interesting one to the end.
Yeah, Ghost Kings hold the Damiano, Dirk, and then Dark. And that'll be a 5. You've got a lot of the guys who were in the Jumpstart chaos back here.
Yeah,
And
it's
sit on-
leveled the playing field. These 2 safety
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah, it's just allowed for everyone to sort themselves. So now, unless you get a jump start off the restart, well, maybe if we had a red flag like there's going to be next year, who knows?
Oh god. Yeah, there's red flags next year. That's when things get real interesting. When
Yeah,
they're all running like this and oh, the red flag is out. I'm looking forward and also not looking forward to that time.
I'm sure there's going to be a wheel smashed or a controller smashed by that.
Oh,
but it won't be
100%.
today.
Well, there might be today, just not because of a red flag.
Well, yeah. But there is also nothing to lose here, really. It's only probably going to be maybe points and a Bruce Eagle, not necessarily a big championship position that would even be a title.
Yeah, because we've no championship fight here. It is your champions are, of course, Keke, and I've just checked the constructors. Red Bull. How have Red Bull won the Oh, Tyne. That's obviously why. 'Cause
Yeah,
they had
Tyne
Tyne and
and
Backy. Oh yeah, that's it. That's how they won it, because they got great points in pretty much every race apart from Mexico and Paul Ricard. They won the championship quite convincingly. Well then, we've a second safety car restart on our hands. This will be a bit of a PSGL sprint to the end. It'll be Ghost Kings though who gets us underway this time, not Parnell Racing's Marcus. So when's he going to tee it up? When is the time to go? The time to go is now. We go racing once again here in Brazil. Good restart from Ghost Kings. Gets away quite nicely. Oh, free wide here in the background. Looks like it's Zane, LRB, and it is the AlphaTauri of Dark here. Looking in towards turn number 1. Big send in the background from Lewis, who dives up the inside. And look at Zane still treading the needle.
Oh.
He shoved LRB off the circuit and round goes LRB. Was left no space really. He won't be happy with that one, I think. And that is unfortunate for LRB. Zane just kind of spinning him round, and Jacob looking up the inside of Lewis, the man who benefited best off this safety car.
Oh.
Lewis has had to go way off the circuit. Max Verstappen, who Jusbrand is looking to attack Marcus in towards Ferradura now. Marcus up to 7th, attacking Jacob. Marcus, of course, has led most of this race, so he has real good race pace. So keep an eye on him for the duration of this Grand Prix. Heading in towards the Pico de Pato for the first time on the restart. It is still Ghost Kings who leads quite comfortably for now 7/10.
Yes, not bad for Ghost Kings. Damiano doesn't seem to be able to do much in that restart. Be interesting to see what he can do now that he's pretty much at the front, back to pretty near where he was. That's before the race had started. That's it, Marcus. Up to seventh. It's worked out well enough for him, this restart. So if he can start making a few more moves, he could get back whenever he wants to. He might want another safety car or something like that, though, just to allow him a little more chaos to envelop.
And then
Oh, was it a little wide there?
there's Marcus. Yeah, he's 3/10 of a second behind. There's a lot of cars running wide on this sort of restart. They all seem to be struggling a little bit with the tyres as Brand piling on the pressure on Marcus. We've not seen a lot from Brand here today. I thought he would offer that a little bit more around a circuit that usually suits him, or his driving style, I should say. You'd think that Interlagos would suit him, but it's not been the best of endeavours for Brand so far this evening. He's picked up a good few penalties. He got the drive-through and picks up a 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Jacob, though, is he going to look for a move? Jacob on better tyres than all that's in front, but that percentage won't really matter come towards the end of proceedings. But DRS now enabled. This is when the fun starts. This is when these guys all start getting unbelievable launches down this main straight. Although if your name's Lewis, you're getting one anyways, because he's got past Robin in towards turn number 1. The man whose qualifying was jeopardised by a spin in the pit lane and disqualification is trying to fight for his life here for 9th spot. The Red Bull just looking to get past Lewis, dives back into the slipstream. He's not going to be up alongside. That setup just not working on that Red Bull, which is something we don't say too often these days. Marcus is up past Jacob and is now the best of the newer medium tyre runners. He's in 6th now in this Grand Prix and fighting.
Yep, 6 for Marcus. He's definitely going to be a chance of maybe could he get that podium? That would be probably the goal at this point. To try be on the on that top step, or well, even just the bottom step of the podium.
But standing up high at some point in a few laps' time is his goal, probably. As I can't lie, him pinning and serving that penalty probably gives him a better chance of it than having that 5 seconds looming over him, because we've been so close here all evening that 5 seconds could put you from 1st to 12th.
Yeah, that actually is a fair point. You could be out of points if you had that 5 seconds. But now you don't. You've been yourself in the safety car where people can't take advantage as much. It's not so bad. Now any position you do have will be your own.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what he was thinking when he came into serve. And then he got to put a fresh set of boots on, so it's kind of a win-win. But 4/10 of a second now separating the top two. Don't count Damiano out of this one. If we look at the ERS of the steering wheels, it is fairly similar between the top two of Ghost Kings and Damiano, but the Aston Martin is just going to have to fight for his life now, because that DRS, as we've seen it throughout the course of the evening, is very, very powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful when used correctly. So Marcus, he's a little stuck behind Zane at the moment. Probably would be looking to make a pass. However, he's a bit closer to Zane than Zane is to Dark. So this might be not the worst opportunity to go for here. He's closing. Actually, no, he's not really closing that much. Zane might have this.
Very close there from Dark. It was close up the front as well between Damiano and Ghost Kings. Oh, he's got the run here. He's got the run landing through turn number 3, the Curva del Sol. Here comes Dark trying to charge. Look at the straight line speed on that Aston Martin. Just bolts away down that back straight. And Dirk keeps 3rd here in this Grand Prix. That was peculiar. Wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, he's done really well there, Dirk, to keep that place. It's important. Damiano is closing in a little on Ghost Kings. He's not doing too bad himself. He's got the ERS to burn as well, the Ghost King does too. And let's say Marcus, he's probably going to be wanting to make this move soon, just for his own sake, because he knows he can be where he could end up today if he makes these moves.
Yeah, Marcus got to keep picking off numbers here as we head through Yoncao for the 29th time on towards lap number 30. Out of 36 here in Brazil, it's business time. Here in Interlagos, is Dark close enough on this occasion to overtake Dirk heading in towards turn 1? He's not close enough for a bit of a dive bomb. Marcus got a terrible run and now just has to sit behind Zane for the time being. Is Marcus throwing up the white flag and just conceding a podium chance here in this race? I'm not so sure, but the Australian, I think, is going to fight for it, but not looking like he is. right now. Damiano, very close to Ghost Kings at the front, almost hitting him through the retro opposta, the left-hander, but just staying behind. As Marcus 0.2 of a second. Marcus definitely seems to be better in this middle sector than he does the final, because he's getting real close into this middle sector, but not gaining that much down the main straights. Maybe he needs to start looking for a move into the corner we've just gone through, turn number 10. You can chuck one up the inside if you catch them off guard, and Marcus certainly seems to have the pace advantage to do so. He was a very similar gap on the last lap, and nothing was formed of it, but he's got a much better exit this time. Is he able to catch the Ferrari, who we can see the red light flashing? That means that he is regenerating energy into the energy store. Here we go, down towards the centre S's. He's not close enough at the front though. The gap is 0.2 of a second. Is Damiano able to have a run on Ghost Kings, then heading down the Decido del Lago through the Curva del Sol? No, he's definitely not close enough. Is Marcus close enough on Zane? No, and Lewis is definitely close enough to Robin, because he's up and alongside the Red Bull here, heading in towards turn number 4. Lewis gonna take 9th in this Grand Prix, or is he? Because this teammate Sanchez goes clean round the outside of Lewis. Oh, that's a stunning move from Sanchez. Maybe even a move of the season if we get a good angle on it.
Yeah, he's got the move done. And a great move from Sanchez as well. Up the front here, just seems like no one to do anything, although Marcus, he's gone a little desperate. He tried to go down the inside of Zane, but maybe that's just what he needs, to get Zane a little off his game. And now he might just have a better chance of getting past him. If you see it, although it seems like Zane already burning away, and that might just be enough.
Yeah, he's got to stay in front here.
Yeah. Looks like Zane she caught on to what Marcus wanted and decided, I'm going to burn here and get momentum before he needs a chance to burn.
Robin trying to attack back on Lewis here, side by side with the centre S's, and is Robin able to make something from this, trying to hook it around the outside? He'll tuck into the slipstream, but as we saw before, Robin just not running the most straight line speed, and he's going to have to stick behind 4 now, and he does. Robin looking for some points here in PSGL F3. Damiano, still, is Damiano just waiting? Is he just waiting to try overtake Ghost Kings on the later laps in this race? Or does he genuinely not have the pace? I'm not so sure. Marcus, is he close enough to Zane for a dive bomb? Zane defends it and forces Marcus to the outside. Marcus has made a mistake. This allows Jacob to go through. Marcus went to go for it, broke late, had to avoid. Zane ran completely wide for the Bica de Pato. Zane has sent him to the shops, and Marcus, unfortunately, now is going to have to try recover from it, but Just Brand's going to have a go first before he can try to do that. Heading down the start-finish straight. Here comes Just Brand. This is all going wrong for Marcus, who is leading at one point in this race. Here goes Just Brand round the outside of the Alpine. Just Brand, is he through? We have a good view on board Jacob, and it's just squeezing and squeezing, and no. Marcus, bit of a contact between the two. The Aston Martin's off on the gravel. But Marcus will hold the position for now. Is Dark close enough to attack Dirk? He got within a 10.5, but not close enough here. We are still so undecided in this race with so little laps to go.
Yeah, it's Marcus. He went for broke, it hasn't really worked, and now he's going to try to get Jacob before he can even go after Zane. So this may have cost him the fact that it's so close, because that marginal gap pace advantage he had, that doesn't matter if he doesn't have the line speed to even make use of it.
Well, we're heading on to lap 34, then that gives us 3 laps of racing to go. Damiano still not close enough to try a move on Ghost Kings. There's mistake from Dirk. That allows Dirk through, and Dirk trying to hold it up the inside here. He's got better straight line speed, but still they're both side by side heading into the center S's. This is going to be a case of who can break later, and this is going to be the Alpha Tauri who dies up the inside. No, has to sit behind. Dirk has managed to hold on to the podium placings for now, but as they head through the Curva del Sol, it's a better run for Dirk, but it looks like Dirk just has the straight line speed. He's just running the lower wings, and that Alfa Romeo just has real good acceleration. As look how close the top two are getting. It's still nip and tuck here in PSGL right until the last lap.
Yeah, absolutely so close here. I have to say, Damiano is He's still got the ERS here for an opportunity. Boskis also has to defend. This could get very, very interesting here. Let's see, Dirk just about keeping that DRS, and that's going to be the key here. Technically, his tires are still fairly good. So you can hope maybe there might be a case where he's able to make up some time while others start just when they have that little drop off.
DRS gap between Dirk and Damiano is practically gone. Dirk has a clean run of the Alfa Romeo heading in towards turn number 1. What about Damiano? No, he's not gone for it. Here comes Dirk, though, up the inside of the Alfa Romeo. These two have been scrapping all evening here in PSGL. Dirk has just switched and got the up and under, potentially. As is he able to finally have a go, or is this AlphaTauri just going to lack in a straight line? Not this time. Here comes Dirk round the outside, and is this time the one where he can get the third place off Dirk? No, the Alfa Romeo defends strong. Excellent defending. Look at the top two, oh so close as well. Is Damiano going to try something bold and try and catch Ghost Kings off guard? Dirk maybe might do the same on Dirk because it's just not working going for the conventional overtake. How close is Damiano? Damiano is burning a little bit of battery. They're both on a practically even amount. They're both trying to tee up their defensive and overtaking manoeuvres respectively. Damiano will have 2 more attempts, maybe even 3 if he's close enough into the Bic of the Pato, here to try overtake, but he's got a horrid exit. He's got a horrible exit, and Ghost King is now burning his battery, and Damiano trying to do the same, but Damiano's not going to gain an awful lot because of his exit. Damiano's best chance now in towards turn number 4 here as they head through the centre S's. As look how close this has got between Dirk and Dirk. Is Dirk finally through, or can Dirk still once again hold on? The Alfa Romeo has been so close to being overtaken on so many occasions. They're still side by side. Damiano not remotely close enough to go for the race lead. As look at this here between Dirk and Dirk, still side by side in towards the Retro Oposta. Dirk has held on for the who knows how many times. Marcus having some issues in the back. Damiano now 2/10 of a second behind Ghost Kings. Here on the last lap, is the Mercedes able to dive it? Up the inside, is a move into the Bic de Pato on. We said it would be realistically his last chance. Has he got a good exit? He has. Is this going to be do or die from the Mercedes? It's not do or die. He'll sit behind, and I think Ghost Kings may come across the start-finish line to win here in the final race of the season. As rounding through Yonsao for the final time, the Aston Martin. It's been a fairly breakthrough season for the Team AS1 driver. Lewis retires from the Grand Prix, but Ghost Kings successfully gets out of Yonsao. He's held off all the pressure here in Interlagos, and he will take his first win here in PSGL 3. Ghost Kings wins in Brazil. It's separated by a 10.5 pretty much. Damiano takes second, Dirk in third, followed by Dirk. That was a titanic battle. That's a defensive performance all Brazilian F1 legends will be proud of from Dirk. Dirk takes 4th, Jacob takes 5th. What a conclusion to the PSGL F3 season.
Yeah. Wasn't anything online for championship, but they delivered a race for us.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Good race, and that's a way to sign off the season. Like just having a bit of fun and having some good racing.
Now we will see Ghost Kings stand tall on the PSGL podium for the first time this season. He left it late, but he got it done. Aston Martin, of course, won many times in the earlier parts of the season with Mubarak, but Mubarak got promoted to PSGL F1, and that was that. He has had a successful F1 tenure since then, but didn't quite stay to wrap up the PSGL F3 title, but it will be a fellow French Aston Martin driver who takes the win here in PSGL F3. Big thanks to all who joined us in the dying embers of that Grand Prix on the stream. Do appreciate you joining. Hopefully we get to see the full race results, and they don't glitch like they sometimes can. Hopefully we can hear from some of our drivers as well. I think we might have had a bit of a glitch here. Hopefully we can actually get to see the race results. No, we won't. Brendan, can you see the race results?
No.
Oh.
I
Mm.
suppose what we couldn't do is use the stream to list them out based on what was like the last thing coming.
As we will hear from Dirk in a podium interview. And we'll try get the race results first.
Suppose no.
As here we go, I have them. Now they're off the stream, so they might be. I know they'll be fine. It was Ghost Kings that took the win. It was Damiano in second. It was then Dirk, Dark, Jacob, Justbrand, Sanchez, Robin, Zane, Marcus, and LRB was your top 11. Your non-finishers were Lewis, Royal Harvey, and Shazoo Simon. Let's see, do we have anyone waiting for an interview? We have Dirk and Damiano. Let's bring them both in, shall we? Hello, Dirk and Damiano. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Well, firstly, congratulations on second and third, respectively. We'll start with the man who came second, Damiano. Just wasn't quite enough on that last lap to take the win, but how did that race go from you? Because it started quite controversial, I suppose we could say, jumping the start, but just talk us through the whole race from your perspective.
Yeah, at the beginning, the start, sorry for the people behind me, but yeah, it was down for me. But luckily the safety car came, so I won some positions. And after that, I had a really good pace. I could keep the front, and then I pitted on the mediums in lap 17, 18, and that's and I won like 3 position on the undercut, and after that the safety car came, so then the second place pitted, so I had a battle with Ghost King, but I lost it in the second sector the whole time, and that's the reason I couldn't overtaking on the straight because it was too much.
Well, it was a real close one in the end. Of course, you came second. Were you just waiting for the last lap to do the overtake, or was it just a case of you couldn't get close enough?
No, I couldn't get close. I was one corner in sector 2 where he was driving like 2-3 tenths away, and the last corner I wanted something, but it wasn't enough to overtake him.
Brendan, any questions?
Yeah, it's just with the jump start. Did you think it was all gone, or
At the
were you
beginning,
thinking hard?
yeah, I thought, yeah, shit, because I had pole and then so stupid. But luckily, second place is after this, yeah, dumb start, still a good result.
Well, Damiano, thank you very much for joining us. We will head to Dirk now, who came third, of course, in that Grand Prix. An impressive drive. Dirk, you tried a bit of a different strategy, and then there was a defensive masterclass in the end to take third place. Again, just the same question. How did that race go from your eyes?
Yeah, first of all, in the quali, I was, I think, P8, but I was 1.5 tenths green after sector 1, which would have been pole. But then VRT Robin got a disqualification, so its AI blocked me, and I had to start P8. And then I gained 4 positions because of jump starts, and decided to go for a different strategy with the mediums, which worked out pretty well. But then in the end, I touched the grass under the braking, which resulted in me losing the DRS and having to defend the last few laps.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance with the defending on the last couple of laps. Just how did you do it? Because there was a lot of points where Dark managed to get ahead of you. Was it just a case of you just kept the car in all the corners, or did you just have better straight line speed? Because it looked like you had a little bit better straight line speed from our eyes, anyways.
I knew he had 0 ERS when I still had around 50%. So the time I lost it under the braking, he was alongside me, but I still had like 30% ERS. So I used it all, and then the laps after that, I could just create a little bit of a gap in sector 2. And on the last lap, on the first straight, I was alongside him, but just behind, so I would get the DRS.
your first podium of the season. Happy with that?
Yeah, very happy. I think it could have been more if I wouldn't get blocked in quali, but I still think that this is the first race for which I practiced properly. I did a little bit more of practice. Normally I only do around 1 hour of practice, but now I started a few days earlier, did some more practice, and then you can see the result.
Well, congratulations on that result, Dirk, and we wish you the best of luck for the remainder of the game cycle. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all from PSGL F3 here. We will let you go and enjoy the rest of your evenings, folks. But unfortunately, PSGL action is over for a few weeks now. That is our season completed, and from myself and Brendan, we can only give you a big thank you from us. Brendan, your final thoughts on what's been an interesting season?
Yeah, it's been very, very interesting. Obviously, the grid has changed a bit since the start. Obviously, we had the likes of Dying, Dara, Mubarak. Obviously, they all moved up, and then ended up with Keke versus Anvio. For Keke, he managed to get the results he needed. In the end there, well, still a very good season, and then we'll be looking forward to the next season for F123.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, F123 will be coming soon, so make sure to keep your eye on all PSGL social medias for the latest announcements. But from us, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. My name's been Evan, I was joined by Brendan. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you in a few weeks' time.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega, proudly supporting PSGL.